Ugh.
So let's stay in Indiana here and move on to this next story. Now we've poked around at this one a little bit, but I wanted to dig a little more this week. So an Indiana law training board is weighing a request to decertify the Dubois County sheriff. If you recall, Sheriff Tom Kleinhelter was under investigation by the Indiana State Police into allegations of misconduct. So, although a special prosecutor ultimately decided not to charge Kleinhelter, the training board voted on August 18th to move forward with charges of fraud, perjury, false informing, and criminal misconduct. The Law Enforcement Training Board Decertification Committee was asked last week to review the case. That was following a request from its executive director, Tim Horty. Now, if decertified, Kleinhelter could still serve as sheriff because the sheriff's office is constitutionally created. It is an elected office. Holding it does not require police certification, but boy, doesn't look great. So this probe has since drawn wider attention after the former Indiana State Police Superintendent Doug Carter publicly criticized the agency's handling of the case. Carter pointed to the discipline of Lieutenant Jeff Herron, the lead investigator, who was suspended after pressing a reluctant prosecutor to charge Kleinhelter. So let's summarize here. Kleinhelter was investigation from the Indiana State Police. State Police are like, hey, listen, this guy's up to some no good. You should charge him. Here's our evidence. Prosecutors like, I don't want to do that. This guy's a fellow Republican, and what happens is the investigator got punished. Many think under pressure from Governor Mike Braun. Just in general, and I've got information pulled up in our show notes. Do Indiana law enforcement, our sheriff's offices in particular, have a problem, Renee?
Thank you, Scott, for that question. We've had conversations. The corruption goes from Washington, D.C. all the way down to Salem. It's ridiculous. And the overarching issue is people don't want to call it out. Mm-hmm. Everybody, and you're in a rural town. Okay, maybe that's not fair because I saw Michael's face. The people.
Oh, I know where you're going. You can say it. I'm not offended.
If you have 1 million or 100, or depending on the population of your area, people all saying the same truth, great. But if you leave it to one person or 2 people or 3 people to say the truth, they're going to try to make you look like the bad guy and they're the martyr, right? Mm-hmm. And so delivery in your area is everything. And like the corruption in Washington, D.C. is mirrored in Washington County, and it goes, it's going to be like a thread that goes the whole way through and eventually will be uprooted, because I do believe that there's enough people right now wanting truth and starting to be willing to say it, right? Because we don't want to make martyrs out of anyone. They get martyred, then they're like, oh, well, we're living with a president who, okay, I'm just not going to finish some of those because I don't even have to. The issue is every single person who's willing to do the right thing right now, we need to stand with them and do the right thing alongside them and make it known and talk about these things on podcasts and in our conversations. And
Listen, I don't want to impugn the entire profession. I'm like, again, I'm sure there are the vast majority are good apples, but man, them bad apples are exceptionally rotten. right down there in your neck of the woods, Renee, there was a Jamel Noel a couple years ago.
Mhm.
He's serving like 15 years in prison right now for swindling taxpayers millions of dollars for cars and planes and vacations.
Judge Medlock, who was in charge of that, lives here in Salem. Yes.
Yeah, and then we found out in an Indy Star investigation not too long ago that there was like a police gang in Elkhart. We have a Kokomo cop got charged recently with assaulting a 14-year-old girl. Another IMPD officer arrested for child molestation. A former Indiana police lieutenant sentenced for excessive force. This is just in the last 2 years. Ethan,
yes, law enforcement is a very difficult profession. It involves a lot of risk. It involves a lot of because of our punitive model, where we keep on insisting that if we have a problem in society, the solution is to punish it. The solution is to arrest it. The solution is to put it in jail. Despite the fact that clearly doesn't help ever. It never helps in the cycles of pain and the cycles of crime. And moreover, when you create this ethos around a profession like law enforcement, I think it does a disservice to people in the ethos, because if you see your fellow coworker doing something that is unprofessional or, dare I say, illegal, that person is a hero. The community sees them as a hero. The community sees them as, more than a public servant, more than your fellow citizen and your neighbor. And while giving honor and respect to people that work really hard jobs, work dangerous jobs, I think that we need to talk about the zeitgeist around law enforcement and how putting people in law enforcement on this other plane, one, isolates them and isn't good for them. Two, creates cultures where they resist oversight and resist transparency. And ultimately, you just want to let everybody be normal. This is a job. It's a hard job. We respect people who do hard jobs, but you've got to break this mentality of insiderism that creates these microcultures where corruption can thrive. It's not always thriving, but you have all the conditions for corruption to thrive when you have all of those things in place, I think.
You know what would help? Billions and billions of dollars of
Great point.
Military equipment.
Military equipment. That's the one thing we don't have yet. Yeah, we're trying to punish enough, but we don't have military grade weapons, enough of them yet. I agree. That's definitely the issue.
Yeah.
Yep.
Be careful.